My name is Megan Berry and I work as the Traveller Outreach Officer on the Maynooth University Access Programme. I've studied a Bachelor of Arts in Social Care and a Master's in Community and Youth Work. How I got to where I am now, it's been a very long journey. I've attended 4 primary schools, 2 secondary schools, a college and a university. I always loved school, I always had like an eagerness to learn. I come from a very big family, so we were always helping one another. And when I first found out that I wanted to progress in education, would have been around 3rd year. A lot of my brothers and sisters would have been early school leavers, so they left early, and for me, I didn't envision myself progressing or staying in education because it was something that I didn't see happening very often from my family, but also throughout the community. The first kind of thing that struck me was when I done my junior cert. I studied really hard. I loved history, I loved biology, and I ended up getting really good remarks. I ended up leaving school actually after my junior certificate, maybe a few months into transition year, because it was so challenging to keep up with costs, and I felt a little bit, I suppose, isolated in the sense that there was no one to identify with. There was no other travellers in the room, in the classroom, that I knew. I was out of school for a good 6 months, and I just said, you know what, I'm not able to look at these 4 walls anymore. I'd love to get up and do something. When I went back into 5th year then, I ended up finishing off 5th and 6th year. Absolutely loved it. Again, I just found this is the space I'm meant to be in. Although there was an awful lot of challenges, I knew what I wanted to do. So when I finished my leaving certificate then, I was thinking, what's next? There was not really much information around going to college, around supports. I didn't hear my family talking about college before, and to be honest, I didn't know what college was. It was the support from my last secondary school that I had got to that really pushed me and supported me to go on to college, to get the documentation that I needed for SUSI grants, like passports, birth certificates, to really push the boat out and get as much as I can out of the information that was there. When I had done a placement in Pavey Point, and that's where I found my niche. I was thinking community development, human rights, this is where I need to be, this is my kind of place, So when I went back to college then, I had applied for a master's, and I got onto the programme here then in Maynooth on the community and youth work, and I had done 2 years there then. Education was very important to me because I kind of seen little opportunities out there. Like, I see my peers and friends and everybody else having so much, but from a young age, and like you're constantly watching television, you're always told that education is a tool to eradicate yourself from poverty. Me being 17 and 18 years of age thinking, well, this is the way then. Like, we're living in pockets of deprivation. We've come from a big family of 13, we haven't got much. So for me to create a better life for myself in the future, that possibly could help. I always had the fear in the back of my head though of discrimination. What if I can't get a job? What if I'm not, am I going to be accepted out in the employment world? Where am I going to go? From a young age, we do often kind of be met with low expectations, that you're not going to be able to progress, or you wouldn't be able to do this and you wouldn't be able to do that. It's kind of that, and that kind of, you internalise that. And for me, that was a huge challenge growing up. What does work is role models. What works is encouragement. I mean, I could have all the money in the world and could have whatever books and copies, but if I don't have the confidence in myself to progress, it's not going to cut it, Having a family as well that understands that it's tough, because you can never say for sure that things are changing when you see and hear experiences all the time. But I suppose from a family's perspective, it's good for them to know that there is hope out there, things are changing. We've lots of travellers in education now across different boards who still have their identity intact, Travellers in education shouldn't be news, you know what I mean? And it should be a thing where there's so many travellers in education that the younger generation can see where they want to go, can envision themselves in them spaces, can identify with travellers, still have their identity intact and still be who they want to be. And we're not a homogenous group. We all have cultural values that we work towards and live on, but we also have our own personal and professional values that we take with us in life as well, And some of us like to get married young, some of us don't like to get married young. There's all different routes, and there's no wrong way to live your life.